Today we are joined by Radiopharm Theranostics Executive Chairman Paul Hopper and Managing Director and CEO Riccardo Canevari, ahead of the company's listing on the ASX at 11 a.m. We wanted to take the time to run through the company's story and presentation. I'll hand it over to Paul to get started.
Thank you very much, Matt. Good morning, everyone, on this exciting day. In a few hours, the company will take its place on the ASX. So we thought we'd take the opportunity to give you a brief update before that major event occurs. So by way of background, the company that you have in front of you today came about mainly because of an event here when Telix listed on the ASX a number of years ago, which caught my attention. And then the following year, the big pharma giant Novartis came into the market and bought the leading radiopharmaceutical company called Advanced Accelerator for about 3 billion. And then shortly afterwards went in again and bought Endocyte for a bit over 2 billion. And I thought to myself, well, there's something happening here. And so decided to take a closer look at the market. And as a result, I came to the conclusion last year to put together the company that we have today and which will be shortly listed on the ASX. When we put the assets together, we looked at about 32 different technologies. We made the decision that we wanted the majority of them to already be in clinical trials. We wanted them to come from good institutions, great provenance. So we have assets from Imperial College in London, Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York. 3 out of the 4 assets have been in clinical trials and about 130 patients have received the drugs. And there are very few ASX biotechs that would have a clinical trial program as deep as ours. It was really essential to me that we have the right management team. And you'll see when Riccardo presents shortly, we've managed to pick the cream of the crop, in my view. And of course, the leadership is Riccardo himself. Riccardo is the former Chief Commercial Officer at Advanced Accelerator. That was the company that was acquired by Novartis for over 3 billion. He's got extraordinary knowledge of the industry, and the company couldn't be in better hands under his leadership. Our Chief Medical Officer, David Mosley, was until recently the Professor of Nuclear Medicine at Cornell University, one of the great American universities. He was a tenured professor, and he quit his job and came to work for Radiopharm even before we raised money. So it was a pretty strong statement. And I should say, neither of these people were looking for jobs. So we lured them into the company on the basis of the assets. As some of you know from my other companies like Imugene and Chimeric, I do like a portfolio approach. In my opinion, single technology companies are a bit dangerous in biotech because if the drug doesn't work in the clinic, if it doesn't do what you want it to do, the result can be pretty binary. This is not the case here. This is not a one-trick pony. We've got multiple shots on goal, as you will see shortly. So there's lots of news flow. The pipeline's rich, and we'll keep you fairly regularly updated all through next year as the results come in. As from later this morning, there will be 3 radiopharm companies listed on the ASX. We're not yet Telix, the market leader with a 1.5 or more billion market cap, but I have to say we are aiming for that success too. We have an outstanding team, as I mentioned, Riccardo and David Mosley, as just a few of them. We've got 4 novel and distinct technology platforms. We've got one of the deepest clinical pipelines of phase 1 and phase 2 trials on the market. And we have a very, very healthy bank balance to take us there. So I'd like to hand over to Riccardo and have him take you through some more detail on the company. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Paul, for the introduction and for the kind words. Yes, excited to be here on this very important day for the company becoming public on the ASX. So all the management team is super excited. And we are excited because, first of all, we are in the radiopharmaceutical, is an incredible segment in oncology with a lot of potential. The way to describe it is quite simple, but the technology is extremely important. So the way we like to describe it is radiopharmaceutical are able to see the tumor and to treat the tumor. What does it mean? You need to have a peptide or a monoclonal antibody that specifically bind the tumor. And the word specifically is important because you want to be extremely selective to the tumor cells while leaving untouched the healthy tissue. So what you do, we take this peptide or monoclonal antibody, you link with a imaging isotope at low energy, and you are able to see where the concentration of tumor cells are. After that, with the same molecule, you switch isotope. You take a beta or alpha emitter isotope at high energy. And in this situation, the drug is able to kill the tumor cells by disrupting its DNA. So a very interesting segment with a lot of potential today and in the years to come. What is unique about Radiopharm Theranostics? Our portfolio is highly prospective. We have clinical and preclinical stage radiopharmaceutical, both in diagnostic and in therapeutic application. We are well above preclinical with more than 133 patient dose with our products. And our products are part of 4 distinct and very well differentiated platform. This is helping us to develop from where we are. The starting point is already great with 5 phase 2 clinical trial and 2 phase 1 ongoing. And this makes our pipeline one of the deepest clinical pipeline in the ASX. The board and Paul were able to secure a commercially attractive licensing deal. We properly check the IP, and we found is broad and robust. I'm very proud to lead the management team with a lot of expertise in the area of specialty pharma, oncology, nuclear medicine, radiopharmaceutical, both in academia and in public large company, as well a deep understanding of the supply chain that is equally an important element. We are a few hours from the IPO and the listing, so as I said before, extremely excited. And as you can expect with our deep pipeline, we foresee a news flow coming in the next weeks and months with a lot of important update about the development and acceleration of our plan. What is our pipeline made for? We said 4 distinct and well differentiated platform. The first one is called Pivalate, is our most advanced. Already 49 patient has been dosed. We see the development of this asset in 2 very important tumor types. One is brain cancer, and the second one is kidney cancer. The second platform is the NanoMAbs technology. These are single chain monoclonal antibody. The most advanced development is in a very important area like breast cancer, HER2 specific, and PD-L1 lung cancer. 2 areas where there is strong prevalence and very high unmet medical need. Equally interesting and promising is our third pillar, the alpha beta beta 6 integrin. Phase 1 already patient has been dosed. What is exciting about this technology is the potential to be developed in pancreatic cancer and head and neck. Pancreatic cancer is one of the leading cause of death among the oncological disease. There is such a huge unmet medical need that is just great for us to think we can contribute in this space. And the fourth pillar is in prostate cancer, is a large antibody targeting PSMA. It is in preclinical stage, but equally very important in our pipeline. So a little bit deeper without taking too much time, the Pivalate is the products we plan to accelerate in development for brain cancer, both brain mets from solid tumor and glioblastoma. 49 patients has been already dosed, and this seems very promising for the future. The second one that I mentioned, the nanomabs, this is really a platform. I mean, only these nanomabs we were able to secure 4 different molecules. HER2 breast cancer, very important. PD-L1 lung cancer, you might be familiar with the space. This is the space where the so-called checkpoint inhibitor really transform the treatment for patients with lung cancer. So very exciting for us to be in this space. And not to forget the third molecule in this family. This is a TROP2 inhibitor. And recently, this is one of the most promising and interesting pathway in oncology. Gilead decided to buy Immunomedics for $21 billion about 2 years ago to gain access to their TROP2 inhibitor. And AstraZeneca also decided to enter the space with a collaboration with Daiichi Sankyo for $7 billion, again, for their TROP2 inhibitor. So having a TROP2 inhibitor, radiopharmaceutical, in our pipeline is absolutely exciting, and this will be high priority for our development. The Integrin platform, our third platform, we are pleased to share that we got a recognition from the European Journal of Nuclear Medicine. When they saw the data of this molecule, they reward this molecule what's called the Image of the Month. Is a special recognition for radiopharmaceutical able to select and detect cancer cells, and this was specific for pancreatic cancer. So an external recognition of the value of the potential of this molecule. And also in this case, we are well beyond preclinical because we have 10 patients already dosed. The last but not least platform, the PSA-mAb, again, was very exciting space. This is the second generation PSA-mAb. The first generation was acquired a few years ago from Janssen through the J&J company. To secure the first generation of PSA-mAb, we were able to secure the second one. So very important for us to have potentially what is already an advancement of this technology. So when you put all together these 4 families of assets, you can see what I believe is an exciting pipeline here. In my experience, looking at company international that are playing in the radiopharmaceutical, I'm not aware of such a pipeline. What is unique for us is what I like to call the breadth and the depth. So the breadth is our ability to target 7 to 10 different disease areas, large prevalence and high unmet medical need. And also what I call the depth is for us the ability to have different type of molecule. We have a small molecule, we have peptide, small monoclonal antibody, and large monoclonal antibody. And we try to match all of this with different isotope, either beta and alpha. So the combination of those isotopes, multiple modalities, and different disease area is what is making, in my opinion, this pipeline unique and one of the most promising in the radiopharmaceutical space. So excited to bring this asset to the next step of development. We are already in a good shape with 5 phase 2, 2 phase 1, and 7 preclinical program, and the listing will allow us to accelerate their development. Thanks to Paul and to the board of director for putting together the team. very excited to be here. When Paul called me, I was thinking about it, but then I immediately realized the opportunity to join his team, his experience, his reputation as an entrepreneur in Australia. His past successes was for me great, very proud to be here, part of his team, but also opportunity to lead such an experienced team like Professor Mosley, Professor of Nuclear Medicine at Cornell, Dr. Tom Tulip with very deep experience in the radiopharmaceutical and in the supply chain. So I believe the management team is equipped to bring the company to the next level. So very excited to be here, and thank you again to Paul and the board of directors for having me. The space is getting crowded from one sense, but that means that there is a lot of opportunities seen in the space, more IPO in the recent time in Europe, US, and also in Australia. But we are just at the beginning of what is the involvement of the large pharmaceutical company. I was in Novartis at the time. We decided to acquire AAA for 3.9 billion, and just after 11 months, we had the acquisition of Endocyte for another 2.1. So total of 6 billion investment to enter the space is a clear message of the potential of the sector. And immediately after, many other companies decide to join. We had example from Bracco, we have Bayer, we have AstraZeneca. But still, if you think at the number of large pharmaceutical companies that are strong players in oncology, but are not yet in the space, just mentioning Pfizer, BMS, Roche, and multiple other, I'm sure they are looking very carefully at this area. They don't like to miss the opportunity to miss a train of opportunity here. So for me, it's not a question of when other large pharmaceutical company will enter the space, because this is probably going to be quite soon due to the recent evidence from recent international congresses. So in a summary, where we are as Radiopharm Theranostics, really now few minutes to the listing, we believe we are joining a very interesting segment of oncology with high potential now and in the near future. As a company, our portfolio is very well balanced with a very distinct platform and asset. Paul mentioned before the attention that was behind selecting the candidates that now we have in the pipeline. We didn't want to go and select me too products or something that can go for a small amount of market share in an already existing market. We really decide to go to molecule that has the potential to be either first in market or best in class. And this is a significant difference from other offerings from other radiopharmaceuticals. We are beyond preclinical with over 130 patients already treated. The team is equipped to do a good job and to bring the company to the next step. You can expect on a weekly and monthly basis, really a flow of information coming to the market due to large portfolio we have. There are going to be a number of significant advancements. IP is robust, so we see long-term potential for all of our assets. And it's interesting to see that one of our assets, the NanoMab family, was developed in China. Not only, but also in China. This gave us opportunity to be exposed to Shanghai General Hospital and to build a network in the country. So very important element as well. And we will continue to remain opportunistic on our business development strategy. So with this, as said before, very excited to be here and very excited to bring the company to the next phase. Thank you for listening. And Paul, I'm sure would be great to have your final remarks.
Yes, thanks, Riccardo. And thank you all. As current shareholders and potential new shareholders, I hope you can see the promise, certainly the enthusiasm we feel for the company. We have 4 great assets in very promising areas in lung cancer, breast, prostate, head and neck, and pancreatic. We've got great people. In my opinion, after the technology, management is the most important part of a biotech company, and we certainly have some incredible leadership there. Our drugs are largely in the clinic, and in drug development, being in the clinic is where the rubber hits the road. And as you can see, we've got multiple clinical trials there. We're very well funded to take us forward and have a healthy bank balance. And I very much look forward to sharing the success of the company with you all as we go forward in the future. So thank you for your support, and look forward to the listing in a couple of hours.